Hey, you. Yeah, you. Welcome to the Malaka podcast. Let's go to the movies. I remember there was a time in my life where things were so much more simpler. Didn't have to worry about bills or rent or herpes, just anything that would complicate my life. But I just want to say that one of my favorite pastimes, and still to this day, are the movies and actually going to the movies. But times have changed. I mean, there was a point where I used to go to the movies every week. Even up north, you'd go to the drive-in and have a great old time. But I don't know, something about the movies lately just doesn't feel the same. With downloading movies on your phone and your computer or your laptop or whatever device is hooked up to your brain or asshole, it doesn't matter. It makes it so much simpler, but the movie experience is almost gone. I mean, let's just be honest. A lot of people always say that, the experience of movies will eventually just go away completely. There will be no movie theaters because they just keep losing money every year. But, I disagree with that. They try to compare it to like downloading music. I'll just say this. I've never gone out on a date and asked her, would you like to go to a music store and buy a CD? That's never happened. It's never happened. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. It hasn't happened since 2003. The last album I ever officially bought, a hard copy of an album, was the Jay-Z Black album. I thought it was going to be his last album. I thought it'd be pretty cool to kind of end it like that. As you can see, Jay-Z is a billionaire now, and he's come up with many, many albums since then. But I've never gotten tired of going to the movies on a date. And that's something that will always be part of the whole movie experience. Going on a date, going out with your family or friends, and just enjoying a movie experience. But there's so many things you have to prep yourself for before going to the movies. But before we start on that, I'd like to go to my friend good old Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia, as they advertise it, and let's look up movie theater. A movie theater, North American English, cinema, British English, or cinema hall, Indian English, also known as a picture house, the pictures, or the movies, is a building that contains auditoria for viewing films, also called movies for entertainment. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to lie to you. I just have to stop for a second. I've been going to the movies for years. I've never, ever in any culture heard it called a picture house. I mean, that almost sounds slightly perverted, but okay, to teach his own, I guess. Anyways, most, but not all, theaters are commercial operations catering to the general public who attend by purchasing a ticket. Some movie theaters, however, are operated by non-profit organizations or societies that charge members a membership fee to view films. The film is projected with a movie projector onto a large projection screen at the front of the auditorium, while the dialogue, sounds, and music are played through a number of wall-mounted speakers. Since the 70s, subwoofers have been used for low-pitched sounds. In the 2010s, most movie theaters are equipped for digital cinema projection, removing the need to create and transport a physical film print on a heavy reel. Again, I gotta stop here. If you've ever seen the size of these motherfuckers, I mean, they are huge. Like, I heard for something like every picture you see on screen, that's something like was it 300, 3,000 like of those little pictures just constantly going. And that machine is loud as fuck. I mean, if you're ever in that room, you can't hear anything. All you hear is that's all you hear. So who's ever got to work that shit, it's got to be a pain in the ass. I mean, they probably just put some earmuffs on or something. Maybe they're bootlegging the movie for their friends. I don't know, but you can't hear nothing. So it's pretty crazy. Anyways, a great variety of films are shown at cinemas, ranging from animated films to blockbusters to documentaries. The smallest movie theaters have a single viewing room with a single screen. In the 2010s, most movie theaters have multiple screens. The largest theater complexes, which are called multiplexes, a concept developed in Canada. Can I just stop right there and say that I'm a proud Canadian and that kicks some serious ass. Oh, Canada. I'm not singing the rest of this song, but I do have to say, we do love our movies. Although I'll be honest with you, I can't name a lot of Canadian movies. I mean, we got a small little thing going here, but it's mostly the States. You know, let's just be honest. So, but anyways, in the 1950s, have up to 30 screens. The audience members often sit on padded seats, which, again, I'm going to have to stop. If you go to a normal theater today, I mean, I'm a big guy. I'm not going to lie. But I have no ass whatsoever. Like, I constantly wear pants and underwear that just falls all the time. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I don't care. I'm open on the podcast. I don't give a shit. I mean, if you listen to the online dating one, that's, there's nothing else to lose. Anyways, yeah, and it sucks, man. It really does. I mean, have you ever sit on like pavement for more than like 10 minutes? I mean, that's what it's like. It's not comfortable, but with like the whole VIP seating, the VIP experience now, you go to certain theaters and yeah, I mean, those seats are pretty comfortable. I'm not gonna lie. It's actually worth what, the extra $5, whatever. You go there, you get a nice little menu there. You can order some nachos or some fries, because who doesn't want to get fatter while they're sitting down watching movies? And you can also get booze. It's great, beer. You can probably get a rum and Coke too, which is always a great idea, when you're sitting through a 3-hour movie. You get the piss every half hour. That's always nice. It's too bad they couldn't invent like kind of a 2-seat thing, where they have like one seat, for you to watch the movie. And then if you got to go to the bathroom, you could just like literally, move your fat ass over like a couple inches. And then I don't know, maybe I'm getting a little too ahead of myself. I'm going to trademark that, by the way, because if I do see that in theaters one day, you guys laugh, but it's getting to a point where we're getting, we're way past couch potato. I mean, remember those commercials in the 90s, couch potato, and now it's like normal. Yeah, it's getting to that point, Remember on The Simpsons, they had the reclining toilet there, Bart was trying it out, reading a newspaper. I'm just saying, I'm getting way off topic here, but anyways, which in most theaters are set on a sloped floor with the highest part at the rear of the theater. Again, I want to stop here. I personally like sitting all the way in the back middle because, again, like you got to deal with, people, kicking your chair, maybe there's some stupid little kid that wants to go by, and, again, he's got to take a piss every 10 minutes, whatever, which, again, I'm going back to my 2-seated, sit and shit idea. But anyways, yeah, and it's a pain in the ass. So I'd rather just see everything, that's ahead of me. You're right in the middle. You see the big screen. I think personally it's the best seats. So that's just me. Actually, now that we're on the subject of kids here, I remember one time going to a movie and, the movie had to be at least like PG-13 or rated R or whatever. And I don't know, we were kind of like in the back middle. I mean, my seat, and like that's another thing. Like when you go into a theater, like you already have a plan where you want to sit, and it's almost like you're like climbing a mountain. I mean, I never climbed a mountain, because I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It's like, what's the point? But like, as soon as you go into the theater, like you look up, and it's almost like you're trying to find that golden seat. You kind of look around and you breathe in the air and you're like, okay, where can I sat, anywhere? I'm so drawn by the smell. That's another thing I have not brought up yet. Sometimes you do go in a movie theater and they have old carpet and it just really, it smells, man. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, again, I give props to anybody that cleans up a theater after, but I mean, you gotta do a good job, I mean, it doesn't matter if someone puked in the theater, or I don't know, maybe they got like a stain from the back of their head, some Coming to America shit, so glow. And you gotta make sure that shit's clean, plus it stinks. The fuck was I talking about? Oh yeah, so you're looking for that golden seed and then someone takes it, and you're kind of, looking at them like, like maybe they'll move, but they're not gonna move, but then in your head, you're thinking shit, like, I don't know, maybe they'll move, maybe, nah, fuck it, they're not gonna move. So you gotta go to a certain seat, and yeah, it sucks, but then at the same time, you gotta make sure that everything's clean around you, you don't step in any old popcorn or pop or, But then sometimes like you feel bad after because you just leave all your shit there anyway. So, you end up being the hypocrite. So, but anyways, moving on. Movie theaters often sell soft drinks, popcorn, and candy. And some theaters sell hot fast food. In some jurisdictions, movie theaters can be licensed to sell alcohol drinks. We already talked about that. Okay, now I remember what the fuck I was talking about. So this woman, like, she's in like the top right, whatever. And I guess she sits there because, she's trying to be considerate, whatever. But she brought her baby. She brought the baby. And who the fuck brings a baby to a fucking theater, man? And like the baby's crying, I'm like, dude, like, okay, I get it. I'm not trying to be, not sympathetic here. I get it. It's hard to find a sitter, especially one that, is not on drugs. But it just, come on, man. I mean, like, the kid's gonna make noise and shit. And it was crying. And I forgot what movie I saw. I don't know. Maybe they didn't like the movie. Maybe that's why they were crying. Maybe they were like, oh, like, oh, my parents are making me look like a dick, and I'm gonna need therapy by the time I'm 18. And I don't know. Just don't bring your kids to the movies, okay? Well, more babies. I mean, obviously, if you're gonna sit through a 3-hour Pirates of the Caribbean, which again, this is something else too. Why are they making kids movies longer? Again, I don't have a kid, but parents, I understand your pain. Okay, I get it. You gotta strap them into the car, make sure they don't fucking fly out the window. You gotta pay for food, because you don't want to be that parent that doesn't get them food. I want some popcorn, I want some candy. No, the shit costs like $9. It's not gonna happen. Okay, yeah, I'm not gonna like you in the future. Okay, so you got no choice to get them shit. So you get them shit, and then you gotta make sure they sit down, because we all know how good, kids are at standing still, especially for 3 hours in a dark room. And, I feel for you guys. I really do. I really do. So just, tell your kid in the beginning, tell them, look, I don't want to end up looking like a dick. So here's what we're gonna do. You're gonna be quiet for 3 hours, okay? Afterwards, we're gonna get, burger, fries. Instead of getting snacks, here's my suggestion. We're gonna go to the dollar store and we're gonna get some shit there. And we're just gonna stuff our pockets. We're gonna save about $24 and we're good. That's it. That's it. That's what you do, okay? I mean, I get it. Like popcorn, movie popcorn is delicious. It really is, you know. And now they start charging extra for the butter. Or like, remember they're like, oh, extra butter, whatever. And then like you get that little extra 50-cent charge or dollar, and you're like, what the fuck? It's just butter. I mean, I don't know. Like it probably fell on the floor. Who cares? Like, but and now you got to pay extra for that shit. That sucks. So all I'm saying is that's a good way of saving a couple bucks. And yeah, I mean, going to the movies, I know so far I've really built it up to be a nice thing, but in all honesty, like it really is going, going downhill in many ways. Like, because people are just lazy. I mean, they just want to stay at home and, like, if anything, they just have their own theaters at home. You know, I mean, me personally, I got a nice little setup here. You know, I'm not going to tell you exactly what I have here. I don't want to get robbed, but I'm just saying, it's a nice little setup. And a lot of times I'm like, I don't feel like fucking going to the movies. This is bullshit. I'm just going to stay at home and watch whatever's on TV and, that's it, And the only real reason why we go to the movies is because, for one, that's our excuse of getting out for some reason, like going to one dark room to another. I mean, yeah, that's really productive. But at the same time, like, it's a really cool experience in the sense where, you get to see one of your favorite movies, or maybe a movie that everyone's talking about on the big screen, And if you think about it, like, going to the movies it is a really cool experience, I was watching this documentary with Marlon Brando. It's called Listen to Me, Marlon. If you ever have the chance, check it out. It's just basically like him and all his old recordings. They put it to footage of him. It's really cool. And at one point he says, like, the whole movie experience, like, I'm paraphrasing here. So pardon me, Mr. Brando. But
Oh, it's okay. I'll let it pass.
anyways, thank you. So you go into like a dark room, and the reason why the lights are dark, he says, is because you're there with your fantasy. You're looking at the screen, and you're wishing that you're this person. You're wishing that you're punching this guy out. You're falling in love with this woman, and you're alone with your own thoughts. So it's almost like you're the only person there. Although, like I said before, you're definitely not the only person there. But it's just a very cool experience. And if you think about it, like, going to the movies is like, in a way, it's a form of gambling. I mean, it's, like, if the movie sucks, I mean, you can't get your money back. I mean, people have tried. I've never heard a story where people have actually tried to get their money back. Maybe they're offended by something they see on the screen, and I don't know, they didn't like it, whatever, and yeah, you're screwed. So, actually, there's one funny story, and I swear to God, this didn't happen to me. I don't want to be portrayed as a racist, whatever. Did I just say portrayed? Portrayed? Anyways, I'm tired. Anyways, so I went to go see Clerks 2. I like Kevin Smith. He's a good dude. I've always enjoyed his movies. Chasing Amy, they always say that's his best movie. I don't know why. I'm more of a Clerks or a Dogma kind of guy. But anyways, so I'm seeing Clerks 2, and there's a point in the movie. Again, sorry, I don't mean to laugh, but I mean it's pretty fucked up. I mean, like, his humor is like all over the place, and there's a point where the one character, he uses the term, and I swear to God, this does not represent me. I'm just putting it out there. He said porch monkey, and we all know that's a racist term. He didn't know that was a racist term, and everyone's like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Da, 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 da. So it's going on for a little bit, and then, like, ahead of me, a couple rows, is it's a black woman, and she appears to be with her two kids. And right after this scene happens, she leaves. Now, she looked pretty pissed off because she, like, was just darting out there. But then she came back like 10, 15 minutes later. So she must have, like, wanted her money back, and she didn't get it. And she just said, fuck it, I already paid for it. And she just came back. So it was like, all right. Yeah, so, I mean, like, when you go to the movies, like, you really don't know what to expect sometimes. I mean, it's not anybody warns you for it. I mean, Although I'm not gonna lie to you, I mean, I'm pretty sure the movie was rated R, and the kids didn't look like they were older than like 8 or 9 or whatever. I don't know. Maybe she saw a trailer for it, and I don't know. There was nothing else on, or I don't know, who the fuck knows. But it's just like, when you go to the movies, it's a gamble. So, it doesn't matter if you're gonna go see, a movie that is highly acclaimed. You could see something that involves very fast cars and has no plot. Could involve some guy just standing there and just quoting random shit and I live my life a quarter mile at a time. For those 15 seconds or less, I'm free. La Familia. Which leads me to my next point. People go to the movies today because they just want to see big action movies on screen. I mean, there was a point where you would just go to the movies and you would see movies that are, going to be nominated for Best Picture, great acting, like whatever, just really actual good quality movies. Now, again, I'm not saying I'm not a fan of a lot of these action movies. I love to go see a good action movie, although I have not seen a very good one in a very long time, unless it involves, some superheroes, Marvel, worst case scenario, DC Comics. Things are happening, shit is flying through the screen and people got cool vision, or they can lift shit, and I don't know, they're fighting people that are bald or obsessed with 5-color rings, whatever. It doesn't matter. It looks cool to see it on the big screen. You're like, yeah, man. And years later, like, yeah, I saw it in theaters. That was great. It was awesome. Yeah. It could have been better, but yeah, whatever. It's cool. Who gives a shit? Saw it on the big screen. It's awesome. Yeah, I saw it in 3D. Yeah. The shit was coming right at me. It was cool. See, that's another thing too. Like me and my parents sometimes like to go to the movies. When I mean sometimes, I mean probably once every 10 years, because we never agree on anything. I'm open-minded to a lot of things, except for vegetarians, but we'll get into that another time. My dad loves everything. I think he's the only person that actually liked Green Lantern, but whatever, teach his own. And my mom, well, she basically hates everything, unless it's, I don't know, I Love Lucy or All in the Family, Jeffersons, I don't know, whatever. But these are good shows too. But anyways, so we went to go see Avatar, because everybody's seeing Avatar. It's a cool movie. Blue's my favorite color. I'm like, yeah, fuck it, let's see it. So we're watching the movie. We see it in 3D. Again, it's really trippy. And I'm watching, having a good time. Half hour into the movie, I look over to my mom, and she's asleep. Now, keep in mind, my mom, again, she doesn't like a lot of things. It's not that she didn't like the movie. I'm not trying to offend the people that made the movie. But that's another thing, too. It's like when you're in a dark room, like I can only sleep in the dark, Is that the name of a song or no? Okay. But I can only sleep in the dark because that's how I was raised. So anyways, yeah, so she's just used to sleeping, so she fell asleep. And then I look over and I'm kind of shaking my head. And then like my dad looks over too, and my dad gives me, my dad's like a Wally Cleaver type, so he's like, oh, your mother, And then at one point, swear to God, this actually happened. So there's a point where there's like these 3D jellyfish coming out, and it looks really cool. It looks really trippy and all that shit. And everyone's just like, mesmerized by all the cool effects and everything, and it really, like, visually, it's fucking one of the best movies I've ever seen. It's just so cool, but I'm sure the 3D helped. So then the jellyfish are coming out. I look over to my dad. My dad is the only person in the theater with his hand out trying to reach the jellyfish, like with his right hand, then the left hand. I mean, I don't know, maybe he got into my stash. I don't know what the fuck happened. And he's just reaching out, like he's like, I don't know, just taking, apples off the tree, And I lean over. I'm like, Dad, what the fuck are you doing? And he just looks at me. He just starts laughing. He's just like, oh, whatever, And I don't know. I just remember that. But yeah, I mean, 3D can be really cool. But again, I mean, everyone should know this, but just after telling that story, things are not actually coming out of the screen, so you can't actually reach for them. So I don't know. I mean, I'm sure I'll tell my dad that one day. I don't know. I'll get around to it. But yeah, and there's another thing too, where we went to a theater one time. We went to go see Expendables 2, and like we're buying the tickets, whatever, and the lady's like, you want to buy these special seats? And we're like, what the fuck's so special about these seats? So the last like 3 rows of these seats, or 5 or whatever, you go in there and you sit down, and the seats move. So let's say if like a plane is taking off, it's kind of like what was that ride in Canada's Wonderland there, or Paramount Canada's Wonderland, or what the fuck it's called now, whoever owns it. They had like Days of Thunder, the Tom Cruise movie, and then they had the ride where you're sitting there and it's, they're changing the wheels, the thing goes up, the thing goes down, and it's going all over the place, And I'm like, yeah, sure, let's get it, My dad's like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, I'm sure. There's no jellyfish, but I think we'll still enjoy it. Anyways, so we sit in the chairs, and it was really cool. I don't know. I think we were the only ones that were there in the theater. We felt kind of like, I don't know, separated from everybody in the theater, which I kind of like. I'm not gonna lie. It's not that I don't like people. It's just I mean, you want that buffer zone. See, that's another thing. Like when you go to a theater, you want that buffer zone. Like even when you're with someone, okay, I get it. You're on a date, and you want to cuddle, and if you want to get a little hey, that's cool. I get it. But, it's like that episode of Seinfeld. Remember, they're sitting in the theater, and like Kramer sits right next to Jerry. And he's like, hey, man, buffer zone. He's like, oh, yeah. And he's like, well, think about it. If we were, on the couch, I mean, you wouldn't sit right next to me, right? It's the same thing. It's fucking theater etiquette, man. That's it. I keep it. And for those people that come late, okay, remember that, okay? Don't see like an empty seat between 2 people and just plant your ass right there, okay? Be considerate. Please. 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 So anyways, we get the seats. We see Expendables 2, which is probably the best one out of the 3 for sure. Arnold and Bruce Willis are kicking ass in it. And so like you put the gauge up. Like I put the gauge up all the way on my chair. So, shit's like fucking shaking, like an earthquake or something. And like my dad, he like never put it up all the way. He was like all scared and shit. And, And again, like it's rare when you're in a movie and people actually like interact with a screen. Oh man, there's such a good racial joke there. I'm not going to say it, but I think we all know what we're thinking. The point is, there was a scene where Chuck Norris comes in. Now at this point, I think Chuck Norris is like, I don't know, like 102, and he's still kicking ass. I mean, like if you ever watch Family Guy, I mean, the guy literally has a fist that lives in his chin, and if you fuck up, like it'll just come out and punch you right in the face. So as soon as he enters the screen, like people just start going nuts, yeah, Chuck Norris, yeah, so that was cool to see. And he was only in it for like 5 minutes, so that's cool. But getting back to getting drunk in theaters, first of all, before you should like get drunk while you're watching the movie. You shouldn't be drunk before you go into the movie, because you're just gonna be pissing like crazy. So we're up north one day. There's nothing to do. It's raining. Blah 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 blah. We see what movie is it called with Sylvester Stallone there with the race cars, whatever, driven, I don't know, whatever, I don't know, I think we were the only ones that saw it, but yeah, so we were like already shit-faced. We go in there and we bring our own beers, whatever, sneaking them in our pockets, like a bunch of degenerates there, and at one point, I was so shit-faced. I remember I had a green bottle, a beautiful green bottle. I'm not going to mention the company because, again, I don't know how these fucking podcasts work. I don't want to get sued. So I'm you're trying to find the cup holder, which, by the way, I want to just point this out before. A cup holder, make sure the thing is really sturdy. I went to go see movies. I would sneak into a lot of movies. We're going to get into that in a little bit, but I went to go see one of the Toy Stories. I think it was Toy Story 2 I went to go see. And I mean, the thing was so like out of whack. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'm not saying I like to steal things, but if you listen to the podcast, Crime Pays, I've matured. But anyways, so the cup container there was so loose, the whole handle there, I just ripped it right out because the thing is not comfortable. I mean, like, you're already in the kind of a weird kind of chair, and then the plastic part, it doesn't mesh well with the chair, and then there's a big circle there, and again, it's weird because like the cup holder's there, but then if you're sitting in the chair and if you got like your pop on your left, your popcorn on your right, you feel kind of boxed in. So what I always got to do, I got to put the pop like next to the other cup holder chair, and sometimes I'll get looks from like a person that's a couple thing from me, just a couple seats for me, whatever, no, I don't know, why the fuck's he doing this, I'm like, because I want to fucking not feel boxed in, and it looks weird, but I don't give a shit. And I took the cup holder home. I used it for a while. I don't know what the fuck happened to it, but I tried to like kind of attach it to my other chair, but I couldn't do it. I couldn't pull it off. So, anyways, I've lived a very fascinating life. So, anyways, I'm there in the theater, and it's a glass bottle, like I said, and again, it's dark, like most movie theaters are, and I hit the bottom of the cup holder. I thought it was in there. So then, after I felt, okay, good. Like, I know it's in there. It's no problem. And then I let it go. And all of a sudden you hear is in the movie theater. And like, I mean, you could hear it, man. Like, everybody heard it. I mean, in many ways, it was the best part of the movie. And like, my buddies lean over like, dude, you're a fucking idiot. I'm like, yeah, whatever, So I would pace yourself, and I learned that years later. I went to go see Christmas Party. I watched the first half sober. I thought the movie was funny. A lot of people didn't like it. It's one of those movies I like watching every Christmas. I think it's funny. But I brought a Mickey with me, because I like to keep it classy. And when the party kind of started, I was like, hey, man, let's pretend I'm with the party too. So I start drinking and whatever. It's all good. So, and then I didn't have to pee till after. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? That's the difference. You go in there, you pace yourself. Okay? Now, weed is a different story. If you want to go see a movie high, cool. It's good, man. It's pretty trippy. I remember I used to skip school a lot. Then I skipped university a lot because I just fucking hated school. But we'll get to that in another time. Anyways, and I went to go see, I think, the last Lord of the Rings because someone told me that was a good movie. I personally, I don't get these movies. I think the second one had a lot of action in it. That's all these movies should be. If these two guys in the beginning, whatever their sexual preference is, I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. I'm just saying, just put some action in there. That's all. Anyways. So yeah, I'm stoned as fuck when I go into the beginning of this movie. And I remember the beginning of the movie, it started off with, I don't even know what the fucking guy's called. I don't know, the little elf guy. I don't know. It's that British dude, and then they do all the digital shit to him, and precious, and all that fucking shit. And it's this whole thing where the demon is taking over him or something. I don't know, something about a cock ring. I don't know what the hell's going on, but it was. I mean, when you're high as fuck and you're watching it, you're like, oh shit, this is fucking crazy. It's not like when I was at home high. Yeah, the point is, just that's fine. I mean, weed doesn't really make you piss, I guess, unless you drink like a shitload of pop during it, I guess, whatever. But still, just keep that in mind. That's all. Now, ladies and gentlemen, before I mentioned about sneaking into movies, I do not condone sneaking into movies. The point is, I used to sneak into movies, and boy, did I feel bad about it. But it saved me a lot of money, and to this day, I still feel, I sort of still feel bad about it, I guess. Bullshit. But it was fun. There was something fun about, I don't know, going into one movie and then you sneak into another movie and you sneak into another movie, and it was fun. It really was. I mean, back in the day, it was something you did, Now you can steal movies online. The point is, back then it was more challenging, And let's talk about the snacks. The snacks of a good movie theater. By the way, I want to say this. A lot of theaters, I've heard, the major theaters, they only make about 10% of the movie's gross within that theater. And that's why they charge a shitload for food. That's why a pop will cost you $12. A thing of popcorn will cost you $16.75. A chocolate bar will cost you about a mortgage. It adds up. But you know what? You go on a Tuesday, which is great because most theaters on Tuesday, they'll give you half price. And you're like, okay, cool. So maybe it's worth it. But then again, that's how they get you. They're like, oh, we're saving money, so let's get some snacks. And so it's all intertwined there. And I fucking hate, like when you go to the movies and you get the popcorn and they have those like shakers there, for the flavoring, the ketchup and the pickle and the white cheddar and nacho and whatever the fuck, and then they put this like fucking cord on there, so you can't get more, I mean, I've been to a theater recently, and now they just sell the separate patches, that's cool, Again, just bring your own fucking shit. Just bring in your own little shaker. Who cares? I'm not going to tell. It's all good. But, but you're treated like a dog, They think, people are going to steal the shit, And I would. I totally would. I mean, like what my buddy said, look, next time I'm just going to bring some pliers and fuck it. I mean, but he didn't do it. I'm just, it was a good idea though. But yeah, I mean, like when you eat the popcorn, I mean, they put the butter on top, And you always forget, like, to tell them, look, okay, put the butter in the middle, then put more popcorn, then put the butter, I mean, if I'm going to pay another dollar, I want the shit done right, If you get a lasagna, you don't like put, just put half the cheese on one half and then the other half I'll just kind of, mesh it in. That's fucking bullshit. Just, so, yeah, but then you always forget to say that. And then when you eat the other half of the popcorn, it's not as good as the first half, It's like when you eat a sundae, all the shit's on top there, the whipped cream and the cherry and the caramel. And then when you get to the bottom, it's all melting shit. I mean, it's still good, but it's not what it should be, So my advice to you, go to the grocery store, get some of those shakers, whatever, bring one of those in, save some bucks. You're welcome. And like I said before, go to the dollar store, stock up. And, I just can't believe the prices. I mean, I get it. They have to make money. I get it. 10%, that's nothing. But, come on, man. I mean, come on. Now, there's one point I have not brought up yet. And I just went to the movies recently with my dad. And he actually made a very good point. He does it a lot of times. I mean, he's a good guy. Don't get me wrong. If I ever need any advice on planting geraniums, he's the first person I'm calling. But he also made another really good point about the movies. Now it seems when you go to movies, you can't really buy tickets separately. I mean, you used to have these machines, you do that. Sometimes you can get in advance, whatever, if you don't mind, whatever. But for the most part, you have to line up in the same line where you get your popcorn, your pop, And it kind of is a pain in the ass. Like, I never really thought of that. I mean, personally, I think it's a strategy. I think, you get the people in line and they're there to watch a movie. So you kind of sucker them in and go, oh, since I'm here, I might as well get some popcorn, I might as well get some pop, I might as well get some candy. So it's kind of like a bait and switch kind of thing. I'm pretty sure that's what that means. I don't know. I'm just saying it. But yeah, I mean, that's another strategy of, trying to get them to get more of your money. and it's pretty crazy. And it does work, by the way. You know, again, who can say no to that beautiful popcorn? I mean, like I get popcorn at the supermarket. It says like theater style, but it's not theater style. You know, it's not. I don't know. I don't know. That old guy on the package is lying. I don't know what's going on. It just doesn't taste the same. Let's just be honest. Personally, I prefer some fresh cut, homemade, or at least in a greasy kitchen fries. And these are things I always looked forward to when I went to the drive-in up north. Now, it was really cool because at one point they would play 2 movies. On Sunday they would play 3 movies. Now, a lot of people were extremely cheap and they would just park on the side of the road because you could still get the radio station, you know. I mean, at one point they had like the sticks there, then you had to put the loop around the stick, and then at one point it's just nobody gave a shit, and they just, you know, they stopped doing that. And we would see a lot of cool movies. I mean, one that definitely stands out was Jurassic Park. I mean, it doesn't get any better. Now you gotta understand at the time, I mean, this was a big fucking movie, you know. They've made 4 other movies since then. I have no idea why, but the first one is definitely the best one for sure. And you know, just seeing it on the big screen, it was really cool. And you know, actually, I remember this one time we went to the movies, and me and my buddies were just watching a movie in the car because that's what you do: drive in, get it. And we figured, fuck it, we're not getting late at this time, so we'll just go to the movies. So anyways, all of a sudden we see this beer can fly on the windshield, and we're like, what the fuck was that? And then it happened again, and then my buddy rolls down the window on the right side, and you know, he goes, you know, like we see a bunch of guys laughing, and he's like, hey man, like why are you throwing cans at our car? And the one guy, to this day, like it's just one of those moments you had to be there. Like he just gives a great line, and he goes, "Hey man, just let it go. Just let it go." And my buddy, I don't know, he didn't. You know, I mean, he wasn't, you know, Iron Man or nothing. So he was just like, yeah, all right, and he just, you know, rolled up the window, because back in the day we just rolled up windows, you know, it was cool. And yeah, so for years we just, you know, always, you know, something would happen and we just like, just let it go, just let it go. So, oh, good times. But it was sad recently because like about a couple years ago, maybe, I always wanted to find out what happened to that drive-in theater, and I saw a picture of it online, and you know, it looks abandoned. I think it is, and like there's a tear in the movie screen. It hasn't been well kept, and it's just sad seeing that, you know. And that's what I mean. Like when you go to the movies when you're a kid, you know, it's like this huge thing. It's like so cool, you know. I remember back in the day, like I wanted to go see a couple movies. At the time, I think Home Alone and Edward Scissorhands were out at the same time, pretty much, and everybody wanted to see Home Alone. And it looked like a funny movie, you know. I mean, you know, I to this day I still watch it every year. You know, it's a Christmas classic. No one's ever going to deny that. But there's something about Edward Scissorhands I wanted to see. It just looked like a really cool and trippy movie, and I was like, let's go see that. And you know, at the time I was, I don't know, 8 or something like that, you know. And you know, my parents were cool. Like they took me to see it. You know, that's where I got to give my parents props. Is, you know, they would always let me see these cool movies. And I remember I could barely see over the seat, and just visually, I mean, just watching this movie, it was just so cool. I mean, Tim Burton, I mean, is just a fucking genius. I mean, I mean that guy will make your dream come true, literally. You know, I mean, you think of something, you know, that visually, and you know, I mean, you just tell this guy really loves movies, and like he just really appreciates, you know, the whole art of it, and just making it, you know, like a really enjoyable experience, you know, for the whole family. And it was really cool. And you know, and then there was another time where my parents actually took me to see The Big Lebowski. Now, I didn't know anything about the Coen brothers at the time. You know, like even at the time this movie came out, like it didn't make any money. Like it's one of those movies that it became a hit like later on video. Um, I'll talk about VHS later and the size of those things. But anyways, yeah, and again, it was a really funny movie. I was younger at the time. I remember this movie's like fucking hilarious. Like, I don't know how this movie did not make more money than it should have at the theaters. I guess people just didn't know about it. And, you know, obviously, you know, it's become a whole cult classic, you know. And if you've not seen The Big Lebowski, you gotta fucking see that movie. I mean, see Edward Scissorhands too, because that's one of Johnny Depp's and Tim Burton's best as well. But yeah, Big Lebowski was just fucking hilarious, man. I mean, and that's another thing that's wrong with the movies today is like no one is seeing comedies. I mean, comedies are making dick all. I mean, the last really big hit comedy was probably was a couple years ago, Ted, and that made like $500 million. But all the stars were lined up there. You know, you got Seth MacFarlane. Everyone loves him from the creator of Family Guy. You know, you got Mark Wahlberg. You got, you know, the talking teddy bear. You got the, I forgot her name. What's her name? The woman from the 70s show. You know, she started off as like a 13-year-old on that show. Everyone else was like, I don't know, in their 30s or something. It was crazy. I forgot her name. Mila Kunis. She played Jackie Burkhart. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, I mean, these comedies, I don't know, like no one wants to go see comedies anymore. Why? Because again, there's no big budget there. You know, I mean, it's very simple. I mean, if you want to have a good laugh, cool, that's fine, you know. But yeah, nobody just wants to see good comedies anymore. I mean, there's not that many good comedies anyway. You know what I mean? Like again, a lot of these comedies. I mean, I've always said this: comedy has to be uncensored. And if you look at all the great comedies, comedic movies, they're all R-rated. Okay? And if you don't know, now you know. Yeah. So it really, sorry, I'm getting a little choked up here, but it just sucks because, you know, it didn't matter. Like I loved going to the movies just for the entertainment. It didn't matter if it was action or comedy or whatever, but you know, it's basically now superhero movies, from what I see. You know, some people behind a green screen, or some horror movies that I don't know. I don't find horrific. You know, I don't know. I mean, I'm old school, man. I like The Omen, the original Omen. You know, The Shining, Rosemary's Baby. I mean, these movies were horror movies, thrillers, whatever the fuck you want to call them. Like these are really good classics. I mean, there's a couple that come out that, you know, whatever, you know, literally, you know, it's like a popcorn fart, you know, but I don't know. I'm not feeling it, you know. But yeah, I mean, the whole experience of going to the movies has changed, you know. Why should I spend this much money? I mean, if you're the average family, let's say husband, wife, you got a couple kids, you know, with all the snacks, gas. I'm assuming you guys are driving there. I don't know. Maybe you're taking a you know, like a go-kart. I don't know. But yeah, it's probably gonna cost you a good like. I mean, add that shit up. I'm assuming you're not going on a Tuesday, by the way. So that's half. Burger price for shit, like at least fuck like $80 maybe, and that's on the low. I mean, for some people that's like a day's pay, man. Like it sucks. I mean, like $80 won't even cover a you know like a sport event, you know. So fuck that. I mean, you gotta just stick with the movies. You know, maybe you can go see a sports movie, you know, but that's it. So my best advice to, you know, the whole movie theater experience is you gotta provide, you know, for the local people. You know, I get it. People gotta make money. Theaters gotta make money. Movie studios gotta make money. I get it. But, you know, don't forget the people, you know, who are actually paying the money and actually paying to see these things, you know? Like, I give us mercy, please, you know? Like, Jesus, you know? If we sneak into another movie, yeah, don't fucking get mad at us. That's your fault, you know? We're already in there. Your security shit. What are you gonna do? Um, but yeah, just make it enjoyable again. Like I was bored like about a year ago, you know, like I usually am. That's why I do the podcast. And I went to the theater by myself. I used to do it all the time. I used to skip school like all the time. In Toronto, there used to be this place called the Uptown Theater, where they taped the very underrated classic comedy movie, Dirty Work, starring Norm Macdonald and Artie Lang. And you know, it was fucking hilarious because right across the street is the Brass Rail. I'll let you figure out what that is. But anyways, yeah, I mean, they would play movies at 1 o'clock. I remember I went to go see Little Nicky and like Hannibal and just a bunch of movies. I saw this one really stupid movie with what was the guy from Friends, Matthew Perry, a whole 9 yards or some shit. I mean, like it just wasn't good. I don't mind Matthew Perry; he's a good guy, whatever. But you know, he's a good dude. I mean, I'm not a big Friends fan. I don't get the show. I don't know, whatever. But yeah, I remember watching the movie and I don't know, like they would just say the jokes and like there was nothing there. I mean, nobody would laugh, you know. I think that was the same time I finished watching the movie, and everyone was leaving, and there was one guy in the seat, and I did kind of like a double take because I could have sworn there was like a coat or something beside him, and he was just getting head. You know, and again, that was, you know, see, again, you see these movies in theaters. Sometimes the shit that happens outside the movie is the best part of the movie. And the lights are on. He's just looking at me. I'm looking at him. You know, I wanted to give him the thumbs up, but I just kept it moving. Yeah. And then there was another time where me and my buddy went to go see, what was it, U.S. Marshals. And that was basically the sequel to The Fugitive. And yeah, these guys come in, you know, they're kind of joking around, whatever, and the one guy sees us, I guess, you know, we're younger or whatever, and he just, you know, tries to tell an adult joke or some shit, and he's like, yeah, make sure you don't come when Wesley Snipes is on the screen. And what's so weird is like 10 minutes into the movie, one of the guys from that group, he just stands up and he goes, "This movie sucks! Everybody out!" And there's like a huge silence. And we're like, what the fuck? Like, and keep in mind, like, if you ever watch that movie, like 10 minutes into the movie, there's like a scene where Tommy Lee Jones is dressed as a chicken. I don't know, maybe he was a vegan, which again brings me back to the point I made before. But again, I'll talk about that later. Yeah, I don't know. It just weird shit happens in a theater. You don't know. So all I'm trying to say is don't disrespect the people around you, you know, especially today with your fucking phones and the lights and yelling out your demons and getting head. You know, just try to keep it contained. That's all. That's all I'm trying to say. And, you know, I'd like to close off with a little short story here. I was at a job one time where I worked in a mall. I worked with a bunch of people. And this job sucked. So I was like, I know there was a movie theater there. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go see a movie. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go during the shift too, because I don't give a fuck. And I did it. And I was like, you know what? Okay, so if I'm going to do it, I got to plan this out, the timing and all that shit, whatever. Because at one point I had to be at another part of the mall. And I don't know, I had to relieve some guy that would always sleep at a desk and whatever. So I thought, okay, I'm already wearing black shoes, black pants. That's cool. A lot of people wear black shoes, black pants. I'm wearing the uniform, whatever. I turn the shit inside out. I'm like, no problem there. So I take off the tie, you know, because I fucking hate wearing ties. You know, I got the collar going, you know, like I'm fucking Travolta and Saturday Night Fever, and I put all the walkie-talkies and shit in my pocket, whatever. And it was, I think it was my lucky day too, because I had all these points on my card, whatever. So I got them for free. I got the free popcorn and the pop, whatever. So I always sit in the back anyway, but it was good. I always sit in the back because yeah, just in case. I thought for the first like 5-10 minutes, someone was just gonna come in and like bust me or whatever. But yeah, I ended up watching like almost a 2-hour movie and nobody said shit. I mean, keep in mind I had the radio off, so it could be like a fire, I'm like popcorn, and but yeah, nobody did. Everybody was cool. Yeah. So then, as soon as I left the theater, by the way, I went to go see Jumanji, the new one with all the people there. And Jack Black is, by the way, I just want to say the movie was okay. Jack Black, I mean, that guy is a saint. I mean, thank God that guy was in that movie. I mean, he just, made it so enjoyable. So thank you very much, man. Seeing his character start off as a woman, then become Jack Black, learning how to piss, classic. So I take the outside route to go back, and I quickly get on the radio, and I kind of make it sound panicky, whatever. I'm like, hey guys, yeah, I'll be right there. Don't worry, I'm on my way. Because I was supposed to be there at like 9 or something. I was like 9:03, 9:04. I go there. The guy's like, yeah, whatever, okay. I don't think he even said shit. And I sit there. I'm like, wow, I got away with this shit. So, again, I say that to say this. The importance of movies to me is very important. It really is. Just the experience of going out there. Actually, you know what? I just realized I was in the middle of another story. I forgot. This is how much I love movies. But anyways, like I was saying before, I went by myself to the movies. I saw 3 movies. The Sister Brothers, which is a movie you've probably never heard of, but it's a great movie with Joaquin Phoenix and John C. Reilly. Check it out. It's a good old-fashioned cowboy movie. Then I went to go see Star is Born, the new one with Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper. Excellent. Then I went to go see Bohemian Rhapsody, which apparently the plot is all out of whack. I didn't give a shit. It was fucking awesome. At the end of it, like everyone's singing the song, stomping their feet, and that's the essence of going to the movies. Like just getting so involved, like in like the movie. I mean, just pretending, as like I said before, Marlon Brando, like just pretending you're there and you're that person and you're living it. I mean, that's the cool thing of actually going to the movies, getting your fat ass up and actually going there and having a good time with your friends and family and girlfriend and maybe a blowjob. Who knows? I'm just saying, and doing the whole popcorn trick. You know the popcorn trick? You put the thing there. Fuck, forget it. The point is, it is fucking awesome. It's awesome. And I just don't want that to die. I really don't. But you know what? They got to start coming out with better movies, I don't give a shit about fast cars and nitrous and fucking green screens and shit, man. I mean, like, where the fuck are the Arnolds, man? Where are the Stallones and just blowing shit up and actually blowing shit up and blood splurting all over the place? Like, I miss that, man. We need good movies again. We need them. Big time. And hopefully, the essence of going to the movies will not die. So the next time you're bored, drunk, stoned, you're with your girl, the setting is not right. So maybe at the end of the movie, it will be. But just say, shut up for a sec. I want to hear the THX sound. IMAX, where you get to see through the eyes of Batman. I'm Batman. But it doesn't matter what theater you go to. It doesn't matter if you go to the great theater, Cine Desio in Athens, Greece, or if you go to the Scotiabank Theater Cineplex Entertainment. Just appreciate what excitement and what great experience it can be to going to a movie theater. And next time you're with your friend, your girlfriend, mistress, doesn't matter. Just ask them, look them in their eyes and say, hey, let's go to the movies.